we're loaded?
We are loaded.
Welcome, everybody. Appreciate everybody taking the time to meet today, recognizing that we were unable to meet previously due to the weather conditions, or at least the forecasted weather conditions.
Nice excuse.
I don't believe we have anybody from the community prepared
No
to
one
speak.
has called.
Very well.
Now we're ready.
I won't repeat my introductory comments, but, so I would ask, though, for a motion to approve the February 14th, 2023 regular meeting minutes. Get a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Can I get a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Very well, we can move to the action calendar. Item number 032306, resolution approving a contract with Albany Holding Corporation for siding replacement at Steamboat Townhomes.
Okay, this, particular resolution will be funded out of our CFP Capital Fund project, which is obligated through our HUD, funding, just as a space to replace very needed, much needed siding replacement at Steamboat property.
Just to add on that,
The total is,
the only weird thing is that there was only one, bidder. So under the HUD regulations, when there's one bidder, there's a process we have to go through to make sure that the bid is, fair, reasonable, et cetera. And as you'll see in the resolution, the bid actually came in, a little bit less than what had been anticipated, so we can move forward with that sole bidder.
Thank you for the call. Can I get a motion to approve? Linda? Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 032307, a resolution approving a contract with Albany Holding Corp. for renovation, the rear elevation at 72 Park Street.
okay. Same concept, in terms of, I believe they were the only bidder as well. Funding out of our capital fund line item, just well-needed work.
Questions, comments, concerns? Can I get a motion to approve? All in favor? Oh, second, sorry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 032308, a resolution approving a contract with Cone Inc. for elevated machine replacement, Westview Homes located at 680 Central Avenue.
Yes, again, out of our capital fund development, line item, this is something that, you know, the scope of work that is necessary to continue, obviously, to keep the elevators running. We've had some challenges over the past year, and we'll hopefully eliminate any of those challenges, and needed repairs and parts, needed to maintain those elevators in Westview.
Questions, comments, concerns? Any,
And Kone is actually our current contractor,
yeah,
so this is just adding.
any, like, long view issues here?
In terms of the
Is it-
replacing the elevator.
Yeah.
I'm hoping not. I'm hoping by the time we get to that point, we will be at our redevelopment phases. So at this point, the goal is to hopefully really, sustain the elevator. And by taking these actions, will help us do that. Hopefully I'm answering that.
To add to that, how many elevators do we currently, do we know that? Like buildings we have with elevators, because you always run into this elevator.
We do with the older properties. So if you take a look at, well, let's use 20 Rensselaer for an example, which is under construction. Those will have elevators and also ADA compliance. Like currently, we have 200, 230, 200, 220, 230, all have elevators. Westview and Townsend all have elevators, 2 each, which building that I'm mentioning. And then you have IDR Row, 260, 270, who all have elevators, which the mechanical, parts and, components of those elevators have been upgraded. So hopefully those will no longer be a challenge. 280, also has an elevator, which is a newer development, which has, that's a newer unit, so hopefully we don't foresee any challenges. So the focus is really on the older buildings, which is Townsend and Westview.
Are you replacing those elevators?
Repairs at this point, but once we get to the level of redevelopment, within the other properties, we will be looking at, the need assessment for those. So number-wise, I didn't count them, but I told you where the locations were.
Yeah. I just think there should be like an elevator insurance.
Well, we contract every year, which is costly, to, with Pone to do the maintenance, preventative maintenance. And then obviously they respond when we have issues and repairs necessary.
Any further questions, comments, concerns? Can I get a motion to approve? Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No.
Motion approved. Approved our action calendar. I'd like to go to committee reports. I don't know if we have any, but.
Well, in your package, there is a program update, and I usually, because everyone reads it, again, the team, the name of the team down to the FSS group, or is that?
There's no name, we just have the Housing Authority Resource Center.
Yeah, okay, Resource Center.
Yeah.
They're doing a whole lot of, different things. They've met with Chanel Cooperative, and they held a healthy eating program at 200 Green. So that's one of the projects that they're always looking to do. They also are collaborating with Albany City Youth, that summer youth opportunity is coming up. But they're also promoting and training and job opportunities for housing residents as well. So they're working on that. They met with the EOC, which is not EOC Hudson Valley, it's another EOC program. I've learned that. But this is more about opportunity for college. EOC is more, in Troy, is more for workforce. This one is college stuff. So they're looking again for opportunities for the residents who are interested in going to college and so forth. So that's a great thing. They also met with In Our Own Voices, looking for space at the resort center. So good thing. They're also going to hold, or they held a Habitat for Humanity virtual information session on March 14th. So those are, different things. And also with legal aid, they held the information session. So like I mentioned, the staff at the Resource Center is, doing a great job. Good group you have there.
Thank you.
That's all for the program committee update that I have. I do have a, editorial comment, but I'll do it on the out.
What? What?
This had to do with Albany.
What program?
What?
Yeah, it had similar to program about, I was just upset that, the, basketball tournament this weekend was over $100 per ticket, and our families couldn't go to it because it was like $170 for a ticket for a college basketball game at the TU Center, MVP Arena. Outrageous. And inflation, I know, is crazy, but it's crazy.
So you can take that up when you run the next program committee meeting.
Just wanted to mention that with everybody I'm running into.
Thank you.
And I'm talking about the nosebleed tickets.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Bostemple. Chairman Wellen, there are no other program proposals or committee reports at this time that I care to submit. If with your permission, I'd like to move on to, the executive, secretary report.
Yep,
Okay.
please do, thank you.
Thank you. I really, don't have a lot. Some of the reports you have seen, I will just give you some, happenings, some updates on some things that are happening. Capitol South Campus Center, we put out the RFP. We've gotten, some 2 responses. And then at this point, they will be evaluated, both proposals will be evaluated, and scores presented to the Capitol South Advisory Board members, and then a recommendation will ultimately be presented and given to our board for you to vote on the ultimate program delivery partner. So the deadline has passed, so it's all done, that part is done. We will be now waiting on and selecting individuals to review the proposals and then make recommendations to the advisory board that will ultimately come to you guys.
Yeah, and I just want to add that you talked about selecting individuals. It's not the advisory board that reviews
Right.
the people that submitted the RFPs. It's an external group that's selected to review those submissions and make a decision. So, yeah.
So that is underway. Let's see. Earlier today, I met with, and the name of the group escapes me, but it was at Norma Chapman Center. A group of lovely seniors, it was about 30 of them, that asked me to just come and talk about things that we're doing here at the Housing Authority and just kind of give them some of my background. And I will tell you that it was the most fulfilling experience that I've ever had. They made me feel like a celebrity. They really did. And I just left there with just so much more confidence. They really welcomed me and really enjoyed my story. I don't share it often, but when I do, I do. So they really, it was a good experience, so.
We don't make you feel that way.
Pardon?
We don't make you feel that way.
Of course you do.
Don't answer.
But, it was really, good. We, I want to say from the last meeting, in partnership and collaboration, I was a part of a press conference with the governor to help, push the housing agenda and supportive understanding how it's important for us to work together on various levels of government in order to provide housing and to do our part necessary to hopefully provide affordable and quality housing, which is much needed throughout the state of New York. That again was an extremely, positive experience, and I really had a good time doing it. I was nervous.
I
We
know
did a
you
tour.
was. I was looking at you.
I was nervous, but I did it, and,
Yeah, you
it was
did.
a great experience. It
You did a
really,
great job.
Great job.
thank you.
You
It
did.
really was a great experience.
Yes.
So I am looking forward to the work that we have ahead of us in redeveloping, our, our current properties, and maybe once we get past that, we'll have newer properties, we'll see. And also pushing home ownership, so great things to come, a lot of things in the pipeline in terms of discussions and planning, that at some point will be brought to the board for further discussion, and consideration, but, yeah, and so that's really all of, am I missing anything? Oh, we are in, you will soon be notified about the groundbreaking for the 20 Rensselaer, project. We're right now trying to coordinate everyone's availability, all the way up from the governor to all, other agencies, lead agencies availability. So we're working on that. I'm not ready to share the date at this point because even as of an hour before, it has changed. So, once we know the details, definitely the location will be at 20 Rensselaer, who will be there, the outline, and some of you will be asked to say a few words, but I will reach out to those who, especially you, Chairman Wellen, if I will provide you the date, if you can come and say some words. Yeah, so we're in the planning stage of that, and yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell at this point on my end. We continue to collect rents, work on, looking at our policies, and, we just had our, resident advisory board meeting last week, to go over, which we do every year, meet with them as we talk about some of the upcoming changes and policies that are affecting how we do things through our annual plan. So next month is when we submit it, which you will get a copy, and within enough time so that you can look at it and vote on it and ask questions. So that's on the way. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, and constantly, just looking at ways to do better, improve our processes, and, that's it. That concludes my executive summary. Any questions?
Want to discuss any of the emails that were going back and forth regarding, time?
Oh, I was going to bring that on the discussion part.
Yeah,
Do
okay.
you want me to wait, or I don't have it?
Every
Okay.
day.
All right. So that concludes the executive summary. Again, I just want to close. We're knowing that we're still, out $3.2 million in rent, as we have some, agreements that, are being honored and some that are not. But we are watching the dollar, and we're making some hard decisions, particularly as it relates to supplemental support. And what I mean by that is outside, support in terms of different programs and things like that that we would normally do. We're taking a look at that because we really have to take care of home first. And that means making sure that we have what we need in order to, maintain our properties and our employees. We have to make sure that we have the, capacity to do the job. So that's what we're doing.
Where are we with, is there still like a waiting list? How Section 8 opens up, open period, and so are we still doing that since COVID and all that? Is that still happening?
We have been pulling, I think I understand your question, and if I'm answering it wrong, correct me. We have been all along pulling off of our Section 8 waiting list. However, we have had some challenges with the utilization of the program. What do I mean by that? Through the pandemic, we have lost large landlords in the city of Albany. They have sold their properties. Many of them have sold their properties, which have then acquired new property owners who have then skyrocketed their rent amount, which made it very, I would just say, not accessible to our participants to be able to use their vouchers. So we've had some challenges with having families being able to turn on their vouchers, particularly in the city of Albany, which then means they port elsewhere sometimes. So then you lose those vouchers, and then your numbers are right back to where they are. Again, utilization is key. It really affects our funding, what we, how HUD looks at how we're spending the money. Do we really need it, so to speak? If you're not leasing up, then why? We've had several meetings with HUD and explanation, and this is something that is happening across the globe, not just with the housing authority, not just with us, and not just in the city in the state of New York. So what's happening is we're pushing out the vouchers, we're pulling people, we're issuing the vouchers, even during the pandemic, we were doing it virtually. We were mailing packets, and we were asking people to come on virtually and do briefings. So we were always doing that. But what I just described to you has been a challenge. The other challenge that we have found is that we weren't getting responses. So when we would mail these packets out, people were not responding. Some to no fault of their own, because we were finding out that people weren't getting mail. Mail was becoming a very big challenge and issue for us. There's times where here we don't get our mail delivered, where we then have to call the main office and then make arrangements to pick up. The last time that we had to do that, how many days did we not have? And we had buckets of mail. It was a whole week that we were missing. And what we found and was told was that this route, and I'm not quite sure the proximity of the route, but I know that we are affected by it, as well as Green Street and other surrounding neighborhoods, that it's a training route. So you don't get, whereas normally sometimes you have the same delivery person, we don't have that, so that every time it's different. So it creates a challenge for us as well. Sometimes, we'll get voter registration mail, they get ours, and vice versa. It's very inconsistent, and it has become more and more unreliable. So that has also created a problem with, we don't really know if someone is not responding or if someone is not just getting the mail. So what we have tried to do lately is pick up the phone. Hey, we sent you out a packet. We noticed that you didn't respond. This is what's happening. And we found, and in some cases, mail gets returned, and the people we know are still living there. So these are some of the factors. Other factors are, I said about the landlords, and not having enough landlords. So to resolve that, what we're looking at is to hire someone that's specifically assigned to working with landlords and creating that database and relationship, helping them understand what what the program offers, why it's beneficial, and there are some incentives that we've come up with to offer to help. It might be something like we'll pay up to a certain amount to make some repairs, to make it meet the quality standards that we need it to meet in order for a voucher to be turned on into this unit. Or might help, this is just one example. Another one might help the participant pay something that might prevent them from turning on a voucher. Say, for an example, a back national grid bill or something like that, up to a certain amount. Help advocate for them. So we're doing what we can. I hope I'm answering your question, but we have consistently been pushing out, sending letters and pulling off of our waiting list. Once our waiting list drops below 1,200, that is when we'll make a determination to reopen it for people to come and apply. And then, of course, public housing we've been applying. We're constantly pulling. We have people in the fold right now waiting for available units. So that is something that we've consistently done. Utilization in Section 8 has been a challenge for us.
But if people wanna get into housing, public housing, they just sign up and it's
Right.
still the same process, right?
It has always been the same process. The only thing is, and I want to say in 2017, I might have the dates wrong, we closed all bedroom sizes except for the 1 and 2. Because what was happening and what was determined is that it was false hope. You apply for a 3, 4, or 5 bedroom and you're waiting 8, 10 years because they're not as available. So, yeah.
I can concur with your mailing system, because I'm getting mail for like 5 days, and I have to call the post
Yeah.
office saying I haven't received any mail, so it seems like it must be a problem.
It's
It's picking up a little better, but it's been really, the postal service really
Yeah.
need to hire, so it's bad when we look for something, it may not come for several weeks, or the mail may not come at all. You never know who your mailman is.
Yeah.
Years ago, I used to know my mailman, but now I couldn't tell you. They put stuff in wrong places, and you, next door has it, or.
Yeah.
They have
It's
a lot of
challenge.
retirement, and it's
Yeah.
national, it's not just, we mailed a check a month ago to Vermont to pay a bill, and it took 3 weeks for the check to arrive.
Yeah. So, and you can mail something that's going around the corner and it'll take us a week and a half for them to get it. So it really has created a challenge and has affected a lot of different things, that, we do. So, I hope I answered your question. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. So I think, outside of that, if you don't have any questions from the reports that have been submitted, I will ask, I'm hoping that these reports, and if we're missing something, let us know. But I'm trying to think of things that will provide you, just kind of keep you informed and keep you, updated with the happenings, and hopefully they will trigger some questions. But if there's a report that you think we should have, let us know. We try to come up with everything, every aspect of the organization that we do, to kind of give you a snapshot of what's happening on a month-to-month basis, just to kind of, and we're hoping that, if you get questions, that you're referring to these. Obviously, feel free to contact me or anyone in my team, but hopefully it's been helpful and informative and not just paper. I know it's a little different, but I just thought that it was, important to provide this information. Because the more we're all on the same page, I feel as though we operate better.
No surprise.
Yeah, exactly.
You do roll call?
What's that?
You do roll call.
I knew, I mean, for you to say something.
One thing I will share on a personal note, but I think that it kind of spills over here, is that I am studying to become a certified parliamentarian. And that will help, so you might see some things, as I work with, as I'm learning and gaining my, a better understanding on the appropriate way to run certain types of meetings and things that need to be done. You might see that there might be some changes down the pipeline. But, so yeah, that is one of the things that I'm working on. So that's it.
Water, name tags. Really
We're trying.
We're stepping up.
Yeah. So that concludes that, and I think if, with your permission, Chairman, it's just the advisement of discussion if we want to talk about the, first item on the list is regarding amendments to the authority's policy on public comments. Commissioner Traham suggested increasing the public comment period from 2 minutes per person to 3 minutes per person, with a total of 30 minutes per board meeting.
Folks, I'd leave this, we did this a while ago, not too far in the past. But I'd leave this up to you guys. I honestly don't care.
What period is it?
Public comment at the beginning of the meeting.
Have 3 minutes to speak, too.
I really don't care myself.
Before the meeting?
So when we start the meeting, you know, sometimes the public comes and speaks.
Mhm.
Currently, it states they have 2 minutes. Pastor Trainham is proposing that we up that to 3 minutes.
For the public.
For the
Comment.
community forum.
Or the community, yes, the community.
Gotcha.
And this may be a stupid question, so if we have 5 people,
Mm-hmm.
we say it's 2 minutes?
Well, I think
Or if we only have 2 people, can we say it's 3 minutes? Or it has to be
he's,
a consistent thing?
that's a good question. He's suggesting that the total, no matter how many, is,
So we would never have more than
More.
10 people
right,
at 3 minutes each.
right.
I would
But
suggest
yeah, I
that
think
it
you
should be
can-
consistent. If you're gonna give people 3 minutes, it should be 3 minutes. If it's gonna be two, whatever the amount is, but it shouldn't really, you don't want to be changing that.
Right.
There'd be an argument that you're reducing my time because you don't want to hear what I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the times I don't. But,
Listen, we did this about a year ago, maybe a little longer,
Yes.
but not too far ago. And we went with the 2 minutes, I think, Kelly, at your suggestion, because that's what the common council was limited to. So we tried to be uniform.
Yeah.
Again, I have no personal preference. We haven't had enough speakers present to really, you know, cause an issue. You know,
but I've been,
2 minutes.
I've been
Nobody
to a
sits-
public meeting.
Nobody's sitting there with a clock.
We were there till like 7.
Midnight.
Pretty late. But me, I wasn't, I think it should be longer, honestly, but that's just because I'm used to my meetings, the council meetings,
Yeah.
because you can't say a whole lot. And we should be hearing from people, good, bad, or ugly, if they have stuff that they want to say. But I'll agree to the 3. What we could do, if we're juggling with the whole numbers thing, is we could throw an additional community forum section on the meeting later down, like, community forum, give 30 minutes or whatever time we give, conduct our business, and if we want to later, have another.
An additional 30 minutes.
An additional 30 minutes. I mean, from
Yeah, I'm all-
experience, people don't usually
again,
stick
I'm-
around for that, so.
I'm all for allowing the public to speak, and I think the more the merrier. We just don't have that
I think the,
rate of an interest.
yeah, I think also the bylaws mentioned about if there was a need to extend the time, we could based on a
Yeah,
mutual
my,
vote.
I think my
So
recollection
I-
is it can be extended
Can
upon motion.
extend it.
Yeah.
My only concern, and, you know, it's based on our experience here, is that we start to get into areas that really aren't board
Right.
areas. I don't, you know, we don't want somebody to spend 3 minutes talking about, you know, their gutters not being cleaned, for example. That's not really in our purview to fix. That's for the executive director and staff to be responsive to.
Correct.
How we govern that, I don't know. I don't know.
Chair,
if we really
you're chair, we have to redirect folks
Yeah,
and keep
I
them on.
mean, I'm happy to do that. I just wanna make sure we're all
Maybe
clear
we can
that,
say something beforehand, if they, oh my God,
Yeah, it's
clean up,
just
if they were, to say, well, if you have a,
just a reminder that this isn't an opportunity
They
to
can
talk.
call.
So we do that. So part of the, policy is that prior to our meetings, you're supposed to call by noon the day before to advise us that you wish to speak to the board. And we ask, what is the topic? Because what we have found when we do that is that it has nothing to do with the board. And in some cases, it didn't even have anything to do with us. So we do ask those questions. Some are more forthcoming than others. So for an example, the gentleman that spoke the last time, he said one thing was the reason why he wanted to come to the board. But then he went on to talk about other stuff that had nothing to do with the board. So I think you're right. We can probably add, and I think we do when someone signs up, what the subject matter is. And if they veer off from that, then it's up to, you know, the chairman to kind of pull them back and make sure that it's on topic.
So let's extend it to 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yes, do we need a motion to do that?
Can I get a clarity on what you're just saying at the table?
Yeah, so prior to, when we look at our agenda, right, there's a community forum. That's the first item on our agenda, other than the roll call. After the roll call, we go to the community forum, which allows the public, because we're a public body, to speak about issues pertaining to the board's activities. So we previously limited them to 2 minutes a person. We're extending that now to 3 minutes a person to give them more opportunity to say what they have to say.
Okay, that's for each person,
Each person gets 3 minutes,
3 minutes.
up to 30 minutes, and then if we need to, we can extend it beyond that.
You talking about when they come here?
Well, sometimes they're on the
On
screen,
screen.
yep, either way.
Either way it goes, they
They'll
can
get
speak.
3 minutes to speak.
You talking about the person that got to have the question?
Yes, that makes comments. So remember the last meeting we had, and there was a family here and they spoke? That's what he's talking about, so they'll only have 3 minutes
3
to
minutes
speak,
to
yes.
speak. Okay.
Yeah.
And what if someone else, other, you talking about in the
Anyone from the
for
public
housing,
can, yep,
from the AHA,
nope, the
Okay,
community that's
anybody-
lives,
anybody
yep,
can come in
as long as it's, I want
to
to,
this commissioner meeting and they can speak what's
Yes.
going on in their
This is a-
community.
It's called an
it has to
open
be
meeting.
housing related.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
she's thinking that anybody can just say, hey, I have a problem with my trash over there. No, it should
Just
be housing authority
AHA.
related, yes.
Or the basketball game being.
Yeah, that's an example of what we don't want.
That's exactly.
But that's not what they come in here for.
Right, so that's what we're saying, they should not come in about the basketball
That
tickets,
is
yeah,
all about what's happening.
housing, right,
I related with that.
yes,
They know we experienced
Yes.
That's how you
many,
do it.
many years ago.
I do, I know, and I appreciate you asking those questions, yes. So, we won't revisit that, I
No,
promise,
we'll-
yes, no. So, yeah, just to come and talk about housing-related issues, and they'll only have a maximum of 3 minutes, and total time talking, not for that one individual, but for the community forum itself, is 30 minutes.
So, so would it be nice if we can start each one of you as a president, and they can go to the people that's living with AHA and ask what's going on with it?
Well, that's what they're supposed to do, but we're working on a campaign to try to, bring back active tenant associations, because we really don't have them anymore, so
It
yes,
was a big help.
it was, so
City
we're gonna
bringing-
work on the campaign and doing that,
Individual persons,
yeah,
it'd
Yeah.
be awesome,
I agree. That's one of our campaigns we'll be starting,
starting.
yes.
So if we're gonna extend it to 3 minutes, I think someone needs to make a motion to change the 2 minutes to the 3 minutes. We'll take a vote on that, then I will modify the document and have it emailed to everybody subsequent to the meeting.
I will make a motion, I'll make that motion to,
To extend the 2 minute limitation to 3 minutes as set forth in the Housing Authority's public comment policy. And we'll just,
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
That clears that up.
Okay, thank you. And then the next item of discussion, many of you were here, the Ballou family came to talk about, changing Harriet Myers to Elizabeth Ballou, street name in Ida Yarborough. They gave you some background, that we provided, the letter that, the family provided to you. And then I want to say, there was some information about the current name, also shared with you. And, as promised, we will have a discussion. We promised the family that we would discuss this and make a possible determination or, offer to see what we can do. This is something that stems from a communications with, Stephen Longo, and then kind of.
Why don't we start with what your recommendation is?
Sure. I think that, I will just put it all out there, given, the past discussions and promises, the family should have something. And my only recommendation at this point is to keep the name as is, and we are happy to look at naming the new community room that has been completed, on the upper end of Ida, and, maybe putting the name above that. That is my recommendation.
Where's the community room? Oh, Ida, okay, I'm thinking, Ida.
So changing a street is not easy.
Nope.
And it's historically, the city and any city that changes a street sort of as a byproduct, so the street is actually not being changed. They're really just putting some signage up to, acknowledge the individual who they are seeking to acknowledge. And I wouldn't have at all object to that. I do find, the idea of something that large to be precedent setting. I mean, in this city, I can only think of really 3 or 4 times we've done it. And each of them that was really precedent, it was worthy, extraordinarily. So I think it has to come, in my mind, with an extraordinary case to do it. And I don't see an extraordinary case here, but I'm not as close to it as some of you guys. So I would leave that to you to sort of.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of remember Mrs. Blue when I
Yeah.
when I was a little kid. I remember her, and mostly dealt with
That's why.
the family, because we all lived in that area of Arbor Hill, from Swan Street, 3rd Street, and all of that area. So I do remember her, and not, like I said, I don't remember her contributions, but I do remember her. And I was trying to think, where the sign is for Harriet Myers, is there another sign underneath it, or like Harriet Myers?
No.
It's
Just
like,
one on
it's just
one
one
side
side?
and one on the other side. One on the Pearl Street side and one on the, Lark Drive side.
Okay, so down there where Sweet Pilgrim is, on the corner, is, oh God, what's the former pastor name?
Still,
No,
surgeon?
no, this is Sweet Pilgrim.
Oh, Sweet Pilgrim.
There's, the Garlands is this way, and there's somebody else on the opposite by, Pembroke.
I can't remember.
I can't think of the name, the pastor.
But those are
Those-
honor,
They're
the actual,
honorary,
Clinton Avenue is still Clinton Avenue. It's just the honorary intersections are put up. So the street name doesn't actually change.
Well, I know street
It's
name,
like
but I'm
a
saying
bit-
that there's 2 signs, one that has Garland and one that has the pastor's
Right, and
name.
they're kind of,
They kind of
like,
crisscross.
yeah.
So if it's just one with Harriet Myers there, why couldn't Mrs. Baloo go underneath there and go another direction?
With the honorary, you're talking about honorary.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would object to the honorary. I think the family objected to it.
Yeah, the
They
family,
wanted- The family wanted the whole street.
yes.
Oh, well, yeah.
And is that in our wheelhouse?
yeah, it is. And the thing is, again, this all started back with Steve.
Steve made a promise that
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
couldn't.
and it was because I was bugging him. As the council member over there, they bugged me, I bugged him, and something got lost in the translation. Like, I never knew about the option of having the room or the center named after him, because that
It
was
was
an
my
easy,
understanding
that
that
was an
he
easier,
denied them
I would've
the
been all over
street.
that.
He was not, interested in changing the street. Based on my conversation and information that we found, he had told them no. However, he offered the community room, once it was completed, being, finished being built. And they were not interested, am I, saying it correctly? They were not interested at the time. Only, again, like I said, I was not a part of that overall conversation. When they came the last week, I mentioned it again, and then now they're interested in it.
Yeah, to me, that
but-
seems like the best.
Pardon?
In the community.
In the community room, yes, the new,
That's,
yes,
That to me seems like a really good option to pursue, but
yeah.
I just,
But I think when you change streets, you're changing other lives, because it requires them to change, you know, their information.
Right, and what I would add is like, this, the time has passed, I think, for doing that. The thing is, when we first started we had these conversations before there was a street name.
Gotcha.
And then, person who shall remain nameless
Got it,
forgot
got it.
to take that into consideration, and then felt so bad afterwards, because he did, that he wanted to try to correct it. But once it had been set up, it got set up in 911, and all these things changed. Again, it was fresh, so it wouldn't have been a heavy lift to change it
At that time.
But we're 5 years past,
Got
4 or
it.
5 years past that time, so all those folks have lived on Harriet
Got
Miles
it.
News for all these years. The post office has been delivering that mail at that time.
Got it,
And
okay,
so, but now I think the window is passed, and we're too far past it
gotcha,
to go back.
okay, makes sense,
So it makes sense to do what you're offering.
okay. Okay,
let's see if that
okay,
works, and
we will reach out and offer that.
if not, we
and
can
go from there.
revisit something else, and,
Okay,
I mean, it seems it's important to the communities to acknowledge it in some way, and if that's important, then we should.
Right, and it's, again, it's as much about the community as it is the family. You wanna do it for the family and have a laugh,
There's a
but also,
piece of history.
right,
Mhm.
the community, you know, it's for the community also.
okay, so I'm happy to, do you want to reach out to them? Because I know that you are the one that has been mostly in communication. Okay, and then let me know.
Bye-bye, yeah.
Okay,
I will.
all right, thank you. All right, that concludes the discussion part, Chairman.
We don't need to vote on that.
No, I don't think so. Not vote that in. Anything really.
So would the space include maybe a plaque or something with this information
Yeah, we'll
on
look
it?
and,
Put something,
we'll work on the design
maybe
and
even a
something
picture if
benefits, yeah,
there's one available.
yeah. If they're okay with it, and then we'll start the design phase of it, if that's okay. So just give me the green light, and then we'll put someone on it to make sure that it looks very nice. Have a
Yeah, an appropriate ceremony
Yeah,
around
right.
it and acknowledge it.
dedication ceremony and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll make it very nice.
And was that gonna be in the community room
Yes,
at Adiaba?
no, not the towers. So in the family unit,
Right,
there's
That
a,
community room,
there's a
yeah.
small community room on the top of the hill,
right.
right there.
Oh,
Yeah,
because the one in our community room is the Carvel.
yes, no, we're not looking to change that one.
No,
Yeah.
you say yes?
Stir in the pot.
Keep it, that's historical.
All right.
I think that concludes our business. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting? Wait. Oh, you were seconding.
Yeah.
Okay, very well, thank you. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Very nice.
Thank you.